Last week, I reopened my pre-orders for all of my clay items, and in 3 hours, I sold out of all 100 pieces. Hi friends, I started my handmade art shop about 4 years ago, and I feel like I'm a completely different person from who I was before. If you've watched any of my older videos, it's not hard to see how much my life has changed, not only financially, but mentally, emotionally. My whole perspective on life has changed completely for the better, even after just selling one single thing. And I want to share this part of my journey with you all, because maybe after watching this video, you'll realize that you can do it too. Growing up, I was actually a really happy child. I had so many dreams. I wanted to be an actress or a singer or an author. But as I went through adolescence, things got really hard for me. My family began to really struggle financially, and this was also a point in my life where I began to understand really what that meant. And as far back as I can remember, my parents were always fighting, always screaming. It just felt very emotionally unsafe, and that somehow everything was my fault. If you've ever experienced financial struggles, you know how stressful it is. It's a type of stress that is so pervasive, it's generational, and from a very young age, I was instilled with the fear that nothing lasts forever. And I'm embarrassed to admit this myself, but I also developed a huge chip on my shoulder because I saw what other kids had, I saw what other families were having, and I was like, why don't I have that? So by the time I turned 15, I immediately got my first job. I worked at a berry kebab stand at the Rocky Stadium, and very soon after I started getting paid, my paycheck started going back to my family. Fast forward 4 years later, I'm 19 years old, I'm starting my first business, and by then I had already worked 7 different part-time jobs. I was a full-time graphic design student, I already had experience in the corporate design world. I was on my way to get a 9-to-5 job. That is exactly what my parents expected of me and what I expected of myself. I never expected anything more. But as you guys know, in 2020, the pandemic hit, there was a lot of time to just reflect. And I think deep down, intrinsically, I knew that the corporate life was not for me. I hated the meetings, I hated going on Zoom, and it felt like I was wasting my life away. And I just knew myself as a person that I can't commit myself to doing something that I don't want to do. I'm that type of person who needs to be passionate about her work. Thinking about it now, I really commend my younger self for realizing that so early on. It takes a lot of courage to start a new business, to try something new, to put yourself out there, and that is the first thing that I want to talk about. My whole life, I never saw myself as a courageous person. As you can imagine, I grew up very averse to risk because if I mess up, who is going to help my family? I've always viewed myself as rather pragmatic, so that's why I chose graphic design over fine arts. But as I was in my second year of graphic design school and the excitement died down, I realized that this job is not for me. I'm not interested or passionate enough about graphic design to want to improve. What I did like about graphic design though was the storytelling aspect of it, the brand building part of it. So once I started realizing this, I took a leap of faith. Took all the skills that I had as an amateur graphic designer and made my brand uncomfy. This specific part of my journey, the part where I just simply started, taught me so much about having courage, about having faith, about having excitement and pure joy, just simply doing what you want without gaining anything in return. I sold my first thing for $12 and shipping was $25, so I literally lost money on my first sale. But I was still so excited that someone from across the world wanted to own my art, and that little moment gave me the courage to be like, I'm gonna stick with this thing. I'm gonna take a leap of faith. And I remember after 2 months of running growing my account. I had like 500 followers on Instagram, and looking at that number, I thought to myself, this could be big. Hi friends, so I'm editing this video right now and I feel like my thoughts were a little discombobulated, so I just want to add some extra food for thought when it comes to courage. It's like a two-pronged issue, right? It's like you need the courage to start, and then you also need the courage to keep going even if you feel like you're trying your hardest and nothing is coming out of it. I get those types of messages a lot, and what I want to say is that the way you can like trick yourself into being courageous is to just tap into your inner child, be curious, and have fun with every step of the journey. Like, I started a brand new account with 0 followers. I didn't follow anyone I knew. I wasn't worried about real life people judging me. Being self-employed is a risk because you don't get the benefits and you don't get the support of like a big company. But I actually don't view being self-employed as a risk because I've seen so many people take jobs that they're not happy with. They go through life not happy and then they end up being laid off anyway. So I've seen both the good and bad sides of taking risks, and I said this at the beginning of the video. I realized that nothing lasts forever, right? So you might as well go through life doing what I'm not saying to quit your job. I'm saying to take calculated risks to improve your quality of life. And if starting a side hustle, if working on your passion will make you happier and improve your quality of life, I think you should totally do it regardless of how scared you are. I was always artistic and creative, but I was never like good. I never thought I would amount to anything amazing with my art. I couldn't draw the perfect portrait, or I couldn't draw super realistic things. And overall my mindset was that so many people are better than me. And that's still true to this day, but now I realize I don't have to be the best. My small business made me realize that even though I'm not the best at what I do, I am still valuable. Because of my small business, I'm able to meet all of my needs. I have an apartment, I have a little dog, I have more than enough for myself. Plus, I can still support my family. I recently fully funded my parents' trip back to Vietnam for a full month. I paid for my dad's dental procedure that he's been needing for years and years now, and now he's so happy that he can like eat all the foods that he wants and talk to people with confidence. Long story short, I've been able to do all of that because I started my small business. I have 31 apple Maxines, 36 tangerine Maxines, 30 of these matcha bears, which I've started adding the keychain clasps to, and then we have 10 of these horses, which I've already added the keychains to. So in total, that is 107 handmade clay.